What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, my name's Mateo7, and let's get right into today's video. So what you can see here is the first concept art that the developers came up with. So the world that you can see here is called Orbis. So with Orbis, you can see that there's 4 different dimensions or zones that are announced now. And obviously you can see there's 2 unannounced ones. Maybe in future development updates and all that, we will get to see what those are. But for now, this is of January 2019. This is all that they had announced for us. So you can kind of see what looks like the overworld of Minecraft. You have the plains, you have a desert, and then also you have an icy biome, and then you have also this big lava inferno area. So each zone is unique, and what they really wanted to make sure, and we'll cover this also in the frequently asked questions, but just because this is just as a short little cut of the thing, each of these zones are actually infinite. Now there is specific types of structures and things that relate to the storyline that they have built in, so some of those structures will not spawn infinitely, but the world itself will spawn with all of its mountains, with all of its generation, but just not some of those key things that are towards the quest. So taking a look at the first zone, which they named Zone 1, it is comprised of many different biomes. So there's forests, there's lakes, there's hills, there are ravines, and there's a lot more. From what we can tell in the trailer, if you guys remember that, if you haven't actually seen the trailer, go back and check it out and then come back and watch this video. But we also see some swamps and some cool creatures in that. And then we'll also cover some more of these updates and features that they let us know again in future updates. So just stick tuned. So what they tried to do with this World Generation is take all these forests, these lakes, these hills, ravines, and just kind of blend them together in this amazing world. And we kind of do see this in other games like Minecraft. You can definitely see as you explore different biomes, as in swamps and everything. But sometimes they don't go together. Sometimes you'll have deserts by these winter biomes and all this different stuff. And they really tried with this that they wouldn't do that. So they kind of divvied it up. Zone 1 is the plains, is the forest, and some of the mountains and stuff. And then Zone 2 is the desert, Zone 3 is the Arctic area, then Zone 4 is the volcanic area. So that takes us into the next one, which is Zone 2, which is the Arctic area. So the Arctic area here, you can just see a small glimpse, looks amazing and beautiful, and there's so many different key features that we can see just within this. So you can see how there's different types of trees. We could see that in Zone 1 as well, but you can also see in here there is, trees. So on one side there's snowy, on the other side it kind of looks kind of like a tundra area. And this one actually is the mountains that you can see, the snow-capped, grand, massive mountains. You can see here down this kind of little cave overhanging area, some of these lighting, maybe crystals of some sort. You can see some ice forming in the water and also all the snow area and stuff. You can see also in the trailer and the previous video that we saw a glimpse of snow falling, so the snow does fall and has different mechanics along with that. But each zone, as you can see here, has its own set of blocks and distinct content. So like you saw, we're not going to see the same shades of colors and stuff from Zone 1 to Zone 2. Everything is different. As I said before, each zone has its own set of blocks or distinct content. That includes furnitures, that includes NPC races, creatures, critters, plant life, weather, and geology. So kind of looking at Minecraft, we can see similar things. Each biome, if you find a village, they're each going to look their own separate way. But what I think in this game is that they're going to be completely different, races of these NPC people. Same with creatures. In Minecraft you find skeletons, zombies, everything everywhere, but in this there is biome or zone specific creatures and mobs that are going to be able to come and attack you, and also you can, we just said NPCs, along with plant life and weather. Obviously that makes sense. If in a cold area, you're not going to find the same luscious area of growth happening of different plants and bushes and stuff. It's going to be a little bit more cold and a little bit more deserted. And then weather, obviously, it's not going to be raining in a snowy area. In a cold area, it's going to be snowing the entire time. We might see a difference in fog, and when that comes, and maybe the day cycles are a little bit shorter in this wintry area. We'll see. I'm not entirely sure about that, and we'll see in future updates if they implement that, but I think that would be an awesome thing to do. Also, kind of going along with each area has its own different blocks in distinct content. The distinct content now that we're going to hit is exploring caves. So it kind of says exploring a cave in Borea. So I'm guessing Borea is what they call Zone 2. It's going to be a very different, experience from exploring a cave in the Emerald Grove, which again, I'm assuming they're saying Emerald Grove is what Zone 1 is, Berea is Zone 2. Don't quote me on that, but for now, that's what I'm going to go with here. So we can see the difference of things right here in this next little picture. So in this, you can see it kind of highlights the difference, the different distinct and unique blocks to each of the biomes. So I'm not sure if the one on the left is, well, the one on the left might be the colder areas, kind of more darker colors maybe, and the one on the right looks more jungly. It has, the leaf roofs and all that different stuff. So that might be the Emerald Grove, and the left one might be the ice. But it just wants to highlight and show you different blocks, different furniture, all that different stuff, that each area has its own unique things. In order to get a full, complete, gameplay, unique experience, you need to go through all these different zones, these different worlds, and you need to go and find these different blocks, and you can create amazing, amazing builds. So each zone has different coastal features. So this one looks like it's in Zone 2, or maybe called Berea, and we can see a coastal shoreline right here. So we can see this amazing, cool coast has its own unique things. You can see these little rocky outputs here, crops. You can see these massive icebergs with a mountainous area, snow-capped mountains. You can see these different massive, trees. It kind of looks like redwood trees or pine trees, huge trees. Off in the distance, you can't really make anything out. More grass, more of the kind of the same thing. Maybe ice or igloo or something there. You can see, I'm not sure if these are bushes. Yeah, they're bushes and flowers and different things like that. So each zone has different, features that are, unique to that thing that would make sense in that zone. So this one would be the mountainous coast of Zone 3. So Berea looks like it's Zone 3. I got that confused. Emerald Grove is Zone 1. And then in this picture, you can see that the coastal lines and stuff are unique to each zone. So, you're not going to find these big icy areas on the coast. You're not going to be finding these big rocky outcrops and different things and cliffs. Instead, you're going to be finding, desert shores. You're going to be finding desert cliffs, and all the biomes and all the colors are going to match with that zone. So again, these unique world generation elements continue even underwater. So each zone is going to be comprised of different colors and different things, and that carries all the way underwater. So you can see different colors. It looks like kind of like the Zone 2, the desert kind of area, how it's really sandy and stuff like that. So each zone is going to be comprised of its own unique features, own unique world generation, and it's going to be amazing. So another thing that has is these massive deep oceans. So if you venture far enough from land, you will encounter these massive ocean shelves. So it's just a sudden drop off at the edge of each zone that leads to the deep ocean. So the deep ocean is basically a zone all by itself. It holds many different underwater dangers and different things. You can see a guy swimming down here and a squid. I'm not sure if that's a fish right there, but it holds its own unique experience. So each zone that you go into, and including this deep zone, this other zone, each holds its own unique experience, own combat, fighting, different things that you have to be careful of as you, go and explore. And as well as it holds all these different dangers and stuff, it also holds different rewards. So for, really adventurous explorers, there is just tons and tons of stuff to find in each of these zones that will really reward you for going to them. So again, you'll have to prepare differently for each of these zones as they present different dangers, as they present different mobs and creatures and stuff that are trying to kill you. And maybe even with the NPCs, if you're trying to trade with them or become an ally with them, you have to do different things. You have to trade with them different stuff. So each zone kind of seems like it's going to be its own unique gameplay, its own kind of world. It's going to be amazing. So again, as I said before, each of these zones has its own, it's infinite. So beyond the oceans lie the infinite lands. And what they say about that is that Hytale storyline won't take you that far out. But that does not mean that you can't go out that far. It just means that, as I said before, that the storyline, the different quests and stuff, won't have you going beyond these deep oceans. So you are free to go and adventure wherever you want, and they're going to make sure that the world generation tech will make the worlds infinite, but you won't be finding these different, deep shelves of oceans or these different amazing, castles or NPCs and stuff within that area. It's everything past these, these oceans lie the infinite lands, and it's just world generation, the basic world generation. So maybe, different ravines or hills or mountains and trees and different stuff like that, but nothing like major like, NPC villages or dungeons and stuff like that. As I just mentioned about the dungeons and the caves, we can see a small glimpse of one of these dungeons. You can see these barrels and stuff, and I'm not sure, like Minecraft, if you can store items in it. You can see this little, basket here, some clay jars and stuff. And each of these dungeons are going to be, handmade, specially, really paid attention to all the details, all the fine, amazing details that really makes these dungeons come alive. So I'm really excited to see all these dungeons put together and be able to actually run through them and find, like, kill all the creatures and stuff and find the amazing loot. And again, like I said about the World Generation, how, it applies to underwater, above ground, all these unique features, it also applies to the dungeons. So you're not going to be finding the same mobs and creatures that you will in other dungeons in, say, if you're in Zone 2. So if you're in Zone 1, you're going to find different things. We might find, as we see here, that the dungeons are actually going to look completely different as they're comprised of different block palettes and stuff. And so I'm not sure, I imagine, as everything has been unique to the zones, special to the zones, that the rewards will be completely different. And maybe each reward that you find in these dungeons will help you maybe to the next one, or maybe specifically it will only help you in that zone. So that will be a big reward of you going to these dungeons and finding it. I lean towards the side that would be amazing, that if you go to some of the dungeon stuff in Zone 1, you find some of these amazing rewards that help you to go to Zone 2 and take over another dungeon there. That just kind of is a domino effect and leads you all the way down the line and helps you out in the long run. I think that would be really, really cool to see. So even though that they are played differently in each of the zone, there is going to be a common factor. Each one of them is going to be played kind of the same, but again, it's going to be different and special to each zone. What I mean by that is that there's going to be tons and tons of secrets in these caves. There's going to be tons and tons of creatures that you're going to have to encounter and fight. There will be tons of important resources to find. So it's not like you're going to go to one of these caves in Zone 2, which is the desert, and it's not, it's going to be more scarce. All these amazing resources, important resources to you, are going to be more scarce than they were in the first zone. Each zone is going to have their own different, unique, and special resources that are important that these caves are going to be full of. So none of these caves are going to be empty. There's going to be full of life, full of resources. And for those of you that are just eager to explore and adventure, there's going to be tons of stuff to find. So again, there's just going to be, the dungeons will just be built slightly different. They're going to be comprised of multiple chambers. There's going to be tons of encounters, connected by passageways. And then one of the main things is that each of these dungeons is going to culminate into one final big boss room. So all these dungeons will provide amazing challenges, special rewards, and all this different stuff. So it's going to be amazing. So as I was just talking about these sprawling dungeons, these different passageways and stuff, here's a glimpse about one of these, and it looks like World 1, Zone 1, the Emerald Grove here that you can see. It's pretty big. All of this is detailed. All of this is hand detailed to make this the most alive experience that you can get. We will see, maybe it goes on a little bit more and they just wanted to show us a small glimpse of one of the small dungeons. Maybe this is one of the big ones. I'm not sure. We're not sure yet. As we go on again, that we'll be able to get updated and more stuff. But just from this small glimpse, you can see some of these amazing details, these structures and stuff all throughout the area. And this will just be littered with creatures and mobs. And then finally, when you get down to one of this big final room, this is where you'll find the boss, you'll kill the boss, and then you'll get the final treasure. So as we're talking about different, pre-generated structures and stuff, here is an example of one of them. This is one of the prefabs that they have made. So far in January of 2019, there's 3,785 prefabs built so far. So what that means that as you explore the world, there's going to be tons and tons of different structures around it. You won't find the same building kind of copy and paste around. Will you find, kind of copies, and maybe you're some more common than others? Probably. But you will find different variety within the structures within all these different zones. So again, these prefabs, they run from the range from environmental features like trees and rocks all the way to the ruins, buildings, and special encounters. We can see here a glimpse of all the different prefabs for trees that we have. They're all all these are different types of trees, within these rows, but they're just different, structures, different variations of the same tree, which just looks amazing. And each of these prefabs are custom built, which is, the developers are already showing us how much they care about the game, how much they're, paying close attention to detail and stuff. So I cannot wait to go through this series and see more and more of the content that they have created for us. So another one of the prefabs that we can see is this portal to one of the new worlds. So you can see this is just concept art for a portal dungeon. So when you meet the criteria that is necessary to unlock one of these, you're going to encounter a hand-designed, big duel, a big fight, a big adventure, a big exploration with all of its different terrain and different kind of own rules that it has. So you'll be limited in what blocks you can break within these portal dungeons, and that will challenge you to overcome some serious obstacles, and it will force you to use other skills that you have, found and generated throughout playing the game. So just like we can see has there's a variety in these zones and different special unique features to each of them. Depending on where you find them, the portal entries are going to look different. So we can see here that this one looks like it's in lava one or what. I'm not entirely sure where these all are going to find, but you can see that not all of the portal entrances or the portal dungeons are going to look the same. So what will be the same though is that all of these portal entrances or dungeons are going to be huge. Absolutely huge. And they're going to be comprised of so many different parts and pieces that are going to make it really challenging. And as I just said, it has its own rules. So you aren't going to be able to place blocks, or maybe there's a limited number of blocks you can place, or maybe, this type of weapon doesn't work very well, or, different things that really impact the experience that you're going to have that's going to challenge you, and it's going to be really rewarding once you finish that. So we can see here one of these, concept art, early glimpse at one of these temples or one of these portal dungeons is the Temple of Gaia. So we can see here just a quick glimpse, these different massive structures. We can see here a big crystal or something to reward, and then farther back on will be the actual portal, and you have to go through different areas and stuff. Obviously, it's going to be bigger than this, but this is just a small concept art of it. More above the concept art that we can see is the Garden of Elements. We can find there is a corrupted golem. I'm not sure. Well, what appears to me is that this corrupted golem, even though it looks like stone in this, maybe it comes alive as you go through it, or maybe that sword that you find is a reward right there. I'm not entirely sure, but again, more concept art, just kind of showing us what we can prepare ourselves for to see. So even though I've talked about how they've really tried to make a unique experience for each zone and how all of these dungeons are hand designed, they try to set it all and govern it by the same set of rules. And sometimes that just doesn't work out. So here is an example of how, the two contrasting sets of rules collide. So they call them these happy little accents, and they're kind of their favorite features, as they, sometimes it's the random, most, accidental things can come out to be the best things. So it looks, it looks massive. It looks beautiful with, these archways, this river running through, and different stuff like that. Another thing that we can see is this prefab structure right here, hanging on the edge of this ravine, which is just amazing. So some of the happy little accidents that they've had and stuff that they really like is that rivers actually carve their way through mountains, and dungeons have been split in half by ravines, just kind of giving a really cool experience. And obviously they didn't want to change that because it's kind of cool coming across those really cool structures like that. Or another example would be swampy terrain, creeps up halfway on a mountain, or you might be exploring, and there's a cave, only discover a lost huge mine deep within it. These just small touches of chaos really ensures that each adventure you have will be different. So you're never going to load into a map and find the exact same things because you never know what the World Generation is going to do. So a little bit more about World Generation. One thing that you'll hear that just goes on, this will go on this entire series, is the customization of this game. So the developers have made this game in mind for people that love to be able to customize everything and have their own experience. So you are able to completely customize all these World Generation systems. So you can tweak World Gen rules, you can write your own, you can build and share your own prefabs and dungeons, you can even build your own portal dungeons. You can create and configure your own blocks, your environments, and you can even create NPCs. And so then you can combine all these different things that you can customize, and then you can put them all together, and then you can put it out for other people to love and share. And so that other people play. It's going to be amazing. So I am really excited for all these different amazing content creators, all these people that are so creative to come into this game and truly make it theirs, and then be able to, share what they've done with all of us who are just maybe not gifted in the same ways of creativity. So that wraps it up on the World Generation info for this video. So that wraps it up for today's video. If you guys liked it, please drop a like down below. And if you want to hear more and follow along this series, please consider hitting the subscribe button. We're going to be dropping new Hytale news every Saturday. We're going to be starting all the way from when the trailer was first announced all the way up to when it actually releases. And we're going to be keeping you guys updated on all the new information that comes out all the way in between. Again, in every video, I'm just going to announce this and try to build anticipation up for this moment that when Hytale first releases, the day it comes out, I'm going to be doing a 24-hour live stream. So if you guys want to go and check that out, or if you want to kind of check me out and watch me play different games in the meantime, go to twitch.tv/Mateo7. Again, that is twitch.tv/Mateo7. I live stream all the time. I play Minecraft, I play Call of Duty, I play Among Us, I play Gary's Mod, all these different games. But when Hytale comes out, I'll be definitely playing that a lot. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next week.